Just a reminder before today's programme that you should check out the most recent episode of Video Scaries, with clips that more closely focus around the theming and festive season of Christmas. And now, here on AMTV, a special kind of video where we take a look at Adam's classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. It's time to duel. Hi there guys, it's Adam Martyn here, and I thought we'd do something a little different for today. Now, I'm not sure if many of you may know, but I used to be a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day, the big children's card game that swept the world, and indeed swept me. I first started playing in 2004, and since then I've always been a big fan of the series. I played seriously from about 2004 to 2008, say, when synchros started coming in, like the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5DEs era. That's when I sort of bowed out of it, but I've always sort of kept in touch with it. But this, what I'm going to show you today, is my classic deck that was probably last... I still play every now and then for fun with friends, but it hasn't been updated for a very, very long time. So if you're a modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Player and you know what's a good deck these days, you're probably going to absolutely laugh at me for this, because it's probably not very good. But I love this deck, and it did actually help me win a few times. So I'll show you that right now. So let's open this box. I've had this box since 2004, by the way. Of course, got to keep my cards in sleeves. Right, so what are we kicking off with? We're kicking off with the Creator. Now, funny story about this guy. I wanted this card so badly. I think it came out in 2004. Tell you what I'll do, I'll put the rest there and we'll do it one by one. Yeah, I wanted this back in 2004 from the Rising Destiny set, and I bought so many packs and just never got him. And I think I got him out of a tin. So he's a level 8 light monster, 2300 attack, 3000 defense in his effect. Select one monster from your graveyard, send one card from the hand to the graveyard and special summon the selected monster. You can only do it once per turn, and it can't be special summoned from the graveyard, this card. So, still a pretty good effect, I think. Maybe, again, not useful in modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, but I really love playing this card, and it actually does work a lot of the time. So, that's the first one. That's like one of my favourite monsters, the Creator. So, we'll put him off camera there. Now this guy, Solar Flare Dragon. Now, I run a burn deck, and I know a lot of people might hate me for that, but I absolutely love the idea of burning away your opponent's life points, not just by attacking. So Solar Flare Dragon is a Pyro monster. Now this effect, it can't be attacked if there's another Pyro-type monster on your side of the field, and it inflicts 500 damage at the end phase of my turn. Now, obviously the obvious combo is you take two of Solar Flare Dragons, play them both together ideally, and then your opponent can't attack either of them, and they take 1000 damage. It's a great combo, and I just love this card. It's a really useful strategy, especially in burn decks like mine. I've got Mobius, the Frost Monarch. One of the old a lot of these are obviously classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, so you won't find any Synchros or XZs or Link Monsters, so if you're a fan of that, I'm sorry. And you can destroy up to 2 spell and traps when you tribute summon it, and for a 2400 beat stick card, that's pretty good. Now, Stray Lambs. Now, the one everyone may be familiar with is Scapegoat, which was used by Joey in the anime, and lets you summon 4 tokens. This one lets you summon 2, and it is very similar to Scapegoat, although it has one advantage. You may only get 2 tokens, and it has the same downside as Scapegoat, being that you can't tribute, normal, or flip summon for the rest of the turn. However, Scapegoat, you can't tribute the tokens. This one, you can. So Stray Lambs is very handy when you want to get a powerful monster out there. Mystical Space Typhoon, MST, I think we all know what this does. Destroys a spell and trap. It's a quick play spell, staple in nearly every deck. I believe still in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. Now, this was a big, big card when it first came out back in the day, and still is. So what's the idea? So to summon it, you have to remove from play a light and a dark monster. Pretty simple enough. And then once during each of your turns, you can activate one of the effects. You can either remove a monster on the field from play, and if you activate it, you can't attack, so take that for what you will. Or, if you destroy an opponent's monster as a sort of battle, this card can attack again. So if your opponent's got one monster and you wipe it out, you can attack again for 3000 damage. Brilliant. Excellent card. I think this was banned for a time. I still don't think it's banned now. That's the thing as well. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a ban list, so in tournaments you can't play certain cards. For fun, I always try and keep my deck up to date, even though I don't really play anymore. So I think everything in here is off the ban list, though I could be wrong. Now we have Cyber Dragon. This was always a really cool card. I got this out of a tin. That's why it's limited edition. And this one, if there's a monster on your opponent's side of the field and none on yours, you can special summon it from your hand. And for Level 5, 2100 attack monster. That's a pretty nice effect. Always useful in a duel. Negate attack, nice battle phase stopper. It just, does it end the battle phase? It does end the battle phase, so you can negate an attack and bring your opponent's battle phase to an end. Very, very useful. The Tricky. Now, this one's a fun one. Level 5, and you can discard a card to special summon it from your hand. So yeah, you're -1, but for some decks that's useful, so I like it. Nice card, the Tricky. Dimension Wall, again another battle phase orientated card, so basically it won't stop your monster from being destroyed, but any damage you would have taken your opponent will take, so that is very useful, especially in things like a burn deck. You got Shrink, which halves the attack of your opponent's monster, really great card, big fan of that. We've got Reflect Bounder, which is 1700 attack, and this one, again, it will be destroyed if attacked, but your opponent will lose life points equal to the attack of their monster. So again, nice for a little bit of burn damage. And we have Call of the Haunted, big staple. It just revives a monster from the graveyard in face of attack position. That was banned for a while. Torrential Tribute, one of the old classic cards. So when a monster is summoned, any kind of summon, destroy all monsters on the field. If you need a board wipe, it's really useful. Now I have a field spell in my deck, Mausoleum of the Emperor. I don't know how much play this sees, but basically this eliminates the need to tribute summon. You can just summon a level 5 or higher monster. The only price is you pay 1,000 life points per tribute. If you've got a way to recuperate those life points, or if the duel's nearly over and you can finish your opponent off, then this can be useful. I found it useful in my deck anyway, for all these years. A second Solar Flare Dragon, as I said, to pull off that combo, which is really nice. Zoma the Spirit. So a trap monster. Trap monsters are a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! So you set it as a trap, and it becomes a monster when you activate it. Decent attack at 1800, and again for burn damage, when this card is destroyed, the monster that destroyed it in battle, your opponent loses life points equal to their attack. So a few of these cards pulled off correctly, you can wipe out your opponent. G-Warped Werewolf. Now this is a normal monster, but for a level 4 and 2000 attack, it's actually really good. Mine's a first edition from Strike of Neos, I think it was, and it's been a part of my deck ever since I got it. It's just a really nice card. I'm a big fan of it, and it's nice to bring out in some of the early turns. You've got Karibo, alternative artwork Karibo. A lot of people riff on it, because obviously Yugi used it in the anime and he's kind of weak, but his effect has saved me so many times where you can discard it from your hand and any damage becomes 0 for that attack. Really good card, happy to have it in the deck. Another trap monster, Metal Reflex Slime. Now this is more for defensive purposes if you need a wall, so when you activate it, it becomes a trap monster with 3000 defense, which if you need some time to stall, can be pretty good. We have Reptilian Rage, this is one of the newer cards, so the equipped monster is treated as Reptile, it gains 800 attack, and when it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and it loses 800 attack, so that's pretty useful in battle terms. Another Call of the Haunted there, because you can never have too many Call of the Haunteds to bring back your monsters. Pitch Dark Warwolf. Now, this is quite an old card, is that? That's a Rising Destiny card, first edition, so as long as it remains face-up on your side of the field, your opponent cannot activate traps during the battle phase. So say if your opponent has a negate attack hiding away or a magic cylinder, something like that, they won't activate it. And 1600 attack isn't bad stats for a monster like that. Another MST, because why not? Goblin Elite Attack Force. Now, obviously the main card is Goblin Attack Force, which has 2300 attack and no defense. This has 2200 attack, 1500 defense. It's first edition from Cybernetic Revolution, super rare. And if it attacks, it's like Goblin Attack Force, it's changed to defense mode at the end, and it can't be changed until the end of your next turn except with the card effect. At least this has defense, whereas Goblin Attack Force does not, of course. Now, Lava Golem. I always thought this card was really cool, used by Marek in the anime. 3000 beat stick, pretty cool looking card as well, I always love the artwork. But the catch with this, so, this card cannot be normal summoned. It can only be special summoned to your opponent's side of the field by tributing 2 monsters they control. Now, you might obviously think, why the hell would I give my opponent a 3000 attack monster? Well, in each of their standby phases, this card deals 1000 points of burn damage. Is it still 1000? Yeah. And, you know, they can use Lava Golem, but if you've got traps to counter it, or, you know, use negate attack or something, then they will just keep burning and burning and burning away. Yes, you are giving them a powerful monster, but that's the risk you take, so really useful card is Lava Golem. Drag Down into the Grave. Now, this one, it saw a lot of play for a while, I think, so the idea is you look at each other's hands, you select a card, and you discard them to the graveyard, but then you each draw, so it's a -1 then a +1, so it balances out. Nobleman of Crossout wipes out a face-down defense mode monster your opponent has, removes it from play, I think, actually, so very useful. Mage Power, good equipped spell, so the equipped monster gains 500 attack and defense for each spell and trap card you control, so a maximum including this card. Oh, and your field spell. of about 3,000 points, which is really useful. We have Alexandrite Dragon, another level 4 beat stick with 2,000 attack. Same stats as Gmod Werewolf, actually. This card's really cool, and again, very useful in opening rounds if you can draw it. Mirror Force, big staple, and again another battle phase card used by Yugi in the anime. So if your opponent attacks, all face-up attack monsters on your opponent's side of the field are destroyed. So, very useful card to have on your Mirror Force. We have Threatening Roar, which again is another battle phase type card, so your opponent can't declare an attack this turn, which I think is very useful. So if you don't want your opponent attacking you, you better have it to hand. Cup of Ace. This does see a bit of play these days for various reasons. It's basically a risk card, so you toss a coin. If it's heads, you draw 2. If it's tails, your opponent draws 2. So either of you can go +2 with a 50-50 chance. It's because cards like Pot of Greed, where you can draw 2 cards, are banned, so this one I find quite useful. Obviously, it only works half the time. You have Cyber Valley, which has various effects, so you can use one of them. You can either, when it's selected as an attack target, you can remove the card from play to draw a card and end the battle phase. That's a really nice effect on its own. You can remove from play this card and one face-up monster you control and draw 2 cards. I'd say that's only useful if the monster you're removing with this will give you a positive effect. And the third thing is you can remove from play this card and 1 card from your hand and place 1 card from your graveyard to the top of your deck. I mainly use the first one to end the battle phase, but all 3 of these effects are pretty good in their own way. Got another Monarch. We've got Thestalos, the Firestorm Monarch. Now again, good for burn damage. Not much though, so when you tribute summon it, you select a card, send it to the grave, so they go -1, which is nice. If it's a monster, you inflict 100 points of damage equal to the monster's level. So typically, you know, if they have a level 8 monster, you deal 800 points. Could be higher burn damage, but still a useful card I've found over the years. Rising Energy. Now this is the ultimate rare version from, is it a Cybernetic Revolution? Yeah. Very shiny, very nice. So what's the catch with this? You discard a card and you increase attack of a face-up monster you have by 1,500 points until the end phase. You might think that's not useful, but it has come in handy for me numerous times. Now this one's interesting, Neo Aqua Mador. Now a lot of people would say, why would you put this in the deck? It's a level 6 monster with 3,000 defense, so a tribute. I mean, it's basically a good war monster. There is regular Aqua Mador, which you don't need to tribute for and has 2,000 defense, but I've always liked this card. I have a thing for certain normal monsters. I think they're quite useful. So to have a card like this is good. Why not Labyrinth Wall, you say? Well, Labyrinth Wall doesn't have an attack. It has 3,000 defense, but at least this has some attack if you want to swap and do some damage. Breaker, the Magical Warrior. This saw a lot of play at one point in time. So when you normal summon it, you put a spell counter on it, and it increases its attack by 300, so you get a 1,900 beat stick. And if you remove it, you can either, you remove it and you destroy a spell or trap card on the field. So that is also very useful. Little MST there for the cost of a spell counter. Compulsory Evacuation Device. Basically return a monster to your opponent's hand. Very useful, especially in the battle phase after they've normal summoned. Raigeki. This is still used very commonly in a lot of decks. It basically wipes out all your opponent's monsters. So, yeah, of course you'd have that in your deck. We have Whitehorn Dragon, which was limited edition. I can't remember where it came from. Maybe... Oh, yes, the first volume of the GX manga. I think I got this, which is quite cool. Anyway, its effects. So when it's normal summoned or special summoned, you can select up to 5 spells from your opponent's grave and remove them. And you increase the attack of this card by 300 for each card removed from play. So up to 5, you can have, potentially, if you get 5, a 3,700 beat stick that only requires 1 tribute. So, I mean, that is very, very good. So good on Whitehorn Dragon. Magic Cylinder. Now, this can be a game winner. You negate an opponent's attack, and that the attack of the monster is reversed onto the opponent. So a lot of those cards have that effect you've noticed in my deck, but it does end matches. Not a lot of people like the method, but it works for me. We have Ego Boost, which is a newer card. Well, newer for me. When a monster declares an attack, target 1 face-up monster on the field, it gains 1,000 to the end of the battle phase. Now again, if that's your battle phase or your opponent's, that can come in very handy. And it's quick play, so you can play it very quick. The final Monarch I have, Zaborg, the Thunder Monarch. Now, if you tribute this one, you can destroy a monster on the field. Nice and simple, very effective, especially if it's the only monster your opponent has. Swords of Revealing Light stops your opponent attacking for 3 turns. Very classic card, very useful card, I might add. And we have Marshmallow, which is a very good wall card. So this guy, so the controller of a monster that attacks face down defense loses 1,000 life points, good burn damage, and it can't be destroyed by battle, so you're relying on card effects to get rid of it. It can be very useful. Dandelion. Now, when this card is sent to the graveyard, which is great, it doesn't have to be on the field, it can be sent from your hand, for example. You special summon 2 tokens in defense mode, and they can't be tributed on the turn that you special summon, but say you get rid of Dandelion somehow during your opponent's turn, and then you've got 2 tokens ready for your turn to tribute or do whatever with, so again, very useful. We have Monster Reincarnation, which is a Monster Reborn version, if you like. It's first edition as well from Rising Destiny. So you discard 1 card from your hand and you bring a monster to your hand. So whereas Monster Reborn, which might be off the ban list now, I'm not sure, brings a monster straight back, this one just, you go -1, but you get a card back in your hand, so can be useful. We have Shield Crush, which is more useful than you think. It basically wipes out an opponent's monster in defense mode. If they're trying to wall it, like with a Marshmallow or something, this is how you get rid of it. We have Guardian Sphinx, which I've always loved this card, so maybe fairly weak on stats, but if you can flip it up, it returns all monsters on your opponent's side of the field to their hand, which is a very useful effect and gives you a clear path, if they've got no spells or traps, to just wail in on them on their life points. We have Sakurutsu Armor, which is a great card, so when your opponent attacks, you destroy the attacking monster. Nice, simple, easy, done. We have Frostosaurus, one of the most powerful 1 tribute monsters in the game. For 1 tribute, you get a 2600 attack monster. I don't know what's happened there. It's frosted over. Haha. And the artwork's really cool. So yeah, this card's really been useful to have. For a 1 tribute and 2600 attack, great little card. I have Wabaku, which is a very old card, but it's a great one. So basically, you take 0 damage for the battle phase or the rest of the turn, which is always nice. Save your life points. Now this one is fairly new to my deck, and it's got a gold rim, must have been part of the gold series. This is Dimension Sphinx, and so you target an attack monster that I control, and once per battle, during the battle step, if it's attacked by an opponent's monster with higher attack, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the difference between the attacking monster's attack and the targeted monster's, and if it's destroyed, you destroy the card. So say if you can pick something that can't be destroyed by battle, or even if it's just a 1-turn thing, it would be good, because it's more burn damage, and it's very useful. Charcoal Impachi. I've always loved this card. I got this way back in 2004. It's first edition. And level 1 monster, but 2100 defense. I can't go wrong there. It's a good like first card to knock off some opponent's life points if they attack. There is a different Impachi. There's Woodborg Impachi, which is level 5 with 2500 defense, but for 21 for a level 1 monster. Very impressive. We have Jinzo. Very used by Joey in the anime. 2400 attack for a 1 tribute, and it negates all traps. And with a lot of decks relying on traps, you want something like Jinzo. You got Stealth Bird, which is a great burn card. 1700 defense for a level 3 is great, and if you can flip it up, you deal 1000 points of damage. Keep that going a few times, and you whittle them all the way down. We have Blast Sphere. Now, what was this one? So, if this face down defense card is attacked by an opponent's monster, before the damage, equip the card to the attacking monster, and then during the opponent's next standby phase, you destroy the card it's equipped to, and the attack of that monster is deducted. So you see the running theme, the opponent should be wiped out by now. We have Duragado, used by Marek in the anime. So, during either player's battle step, you can special summon this card from your hand. Nice. And if you do, you gain 1000 life points. Even better. You can only use this effect of Duragado once per turn, and during either player's turn, you contribute the card, target face-up monster you control, and it gains 1000 attack. So that's useful. You can special summon a 1700 attack monster during the battle step, and it's just got great effects to it. Near the end now, so last main card, Spell Striker. Really useful. So you can special summon it if you remove a spell card from your graveyard, so you'll get an extra summon. And also, it can attack directly. It may only be 600, but you equip it with something like Mage Power. You'll have a strong beat stick, and when it's destroyed by battle, you take 0 battle damage. So it's a really great card, actually, Spell Striker. And to finish off with, I have these. There's another card in there, but it's just 2 tokens. Conveniently, they actually look like the tokens in Stray Lambs, so when I play Stray Lambs, these are the things you can use for tokens. Now, you can use anything for tokens, coins, whatever, to symbolize them, but it's nice to have cards that actually resemble them. So that's that. And that really, folks, is my Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. As I say, I've never really played like professionally in tournaments or anything, and it's just great to go back through this deck and see all these memories. There are cards in here that are as old as 2004 that are first edition as well. Some of the Rising Destiny stuff. There's stuff that's a bit more recent. But ultimately, yeah, if I'm ever challenged, I'll be happy to get this deck out and give it a go. It's definitely not ready for tournament play. I'd be wiped out within seconds. But for my little deck and my memories, it'll always do me right. And I hope you've enjoyed this little bonus video. Let me know in the comments if you play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or if you've ever been a fan, if you've ever had a deck. And if you do have a deck, or if you play professionally, let me know what kind of deck you run. As I say, I run a burn deck, where the primary focus is to whittle away at your opponent's life points, but I'm really curious to see what you guys would put in your deck, so let me know. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and until the next one, I'll see you guys next time. Well, that does bring us to a close this evening on AMTV. We do hope you enjoyed the programme, and please do keep your eyes open for brand new content that will be coming to you soon. Until then, have a very good week, and we hope that you join us again soon. Good night.